and I just wanted to talk about this product called Cuttlelola Dotspen. It's advertised as an automatic stippling pen that is supposed to help with dot work because it's got a little mechanism in there that shakes back and forth and creates little dots. It's got 2 speeds, goes real fast. Click it twice, off once, twice, once. Okay, pretty simple. Lost the pen or the cap. There was a cap because I would try and click it onto the back here. Oh, and that's very small. It would just fall right off, and I have no idea where it is. So I think the reason behind that is because I tried to use it mobile, and you know, it's a pen. I would think that you could travel with a pen, not this one. Now, I know this is the second edition, like second version of it. Definitely looks a lot sleeker than the last one. It definitely looks a lot lighter, and it looks like the battery lasts longer. It only lasts like an hour if it's not just plugged in, which plugs into the top here. Charges. Once that light turns off, it's done charging. You can go at it again, or you can just go with it plugged in the whole time, and to me that defeats the purpose, because then you're wired. You know, it's a pen. I kind of figured that I could travel with it, and it's really disappointing when you bring it to work or you go to the park and you're trying to draw and it lasts maybe an hour on a good day. Sometimes it would be dead before I even got to actually use it. I'd take it out of my bag or something, and I don't know if that's because maybe this button here, this red button, gets pressed and it just is going off in my backpack. And that might be why they give you this steel box to carry it in, because it's magnetized. So if it does get pressed, it holds it still from going. I feel like that still kills the battery. I'm not entirely sure. So that's one thing, is that the battery is probably very disappointing. One thing is you do have to get used to the weight and the way it shakes back and forth. It's honestly not a big deal, but I imagine that some of the customers might be getting this because traditional stippling might hurt your wrist or whatever. So, you know, it vibrating like that will be kind of a downside if you have to get used to it. The instructions do make it clear that when you're using it, you want it to be pointed directly down, not at an angle. That can get kind of weird to not just get used to, because you're straight down on it and dragging it around, but also annoying when you are drawing with it plugged directly into it, because this wire is just in the way. It's like you almost need to be holding it over here. And I will tell you guys, I personally was interested in using this because I kind of figured that this would be a fun way to maybe understand how tattoo machines and the way that those needles work, on how they're going in and out. Because I'm not trying to tattoo my own skin. It just doesn't feel like what I expected, if that makes any sense. And I think one of the biggest draws of why that is because, yes, there's 2 speeds, but there isn't exactly a way to control. It's not like how a power supply would work on a tattoo machine, where there's this large variety of putting it at 8 or 10 or 12 and yada yada. Like, you get 2 settings, and that's how it works. And so you have to get used to how fast you're going to drag your hand, how slow you're going to drag your hand, and keeping that angle. And I guess it's just a little awkward. Now, again, I did, compliment this sleek looking case style. It does look really nice, and it does feel good in the hand, but this is probably the biggest drawback. I was going to use this until I used up maybe a couple ink cartridges, or however much felt comfortable before I voiced my opinion about it, because I wanted to get to know it before I said things. But replacing the ink cartridge became a concern as I drew more and more. I was like, this is going to run out soon at some point, right? Felt like it did here and there. Started to get lighter ink, but it is a ballpoint and it's stippling, so it's not exactly dragging the way that a ballpoint needs to keep that ink flowing. So I would check it periodically. And the only way to get into this pen, this version of it, is to unscrew this top here, and you have whatever I don't know. That's the inside of it. This is all one piece. I could probably crack it open here at that seam, but that's where, you know, output, probably the battery and the whole mechanism is. I don't want to just like break it open. So you're supposed to just take it out. If you see a problem right here, it looks like a normal ink tube. They come with this little piece of metal. It's typically in this tube for this pen. Not all pens work that way, but it had a little piece of metal in there, and the reason is because the mechanism that's inside here is magnetized. And so with that piece of metal in there, it sticks in and magnetizes to it, and that's how it sticks. And you can see that didn't work because this little piece of metal is stuck in there. You see that little guy? I have to like find the magnet, and it's in there. You see it's got some give. I'm holding on to the spring, but as I pull it, the magnet just is taken right out of the ink cartridge, which is a problem because I'm not gonna be able to replace it as far as I can tell right now. They're gonna need some work on that. I want to be able to draw for longer. I want it to be mobile, and I don't want to have to worry about that at all. The first version had like a thing it unscrewed in the middle, right by that mechanism, so you can mess with it all and see it all right there, and it was probably super easy to change out. This, not so much. This, disappointing. And now this is maybe just like a tangent or more of a personal opinion that not everyone who wants this is going to agree with. I think you should model it more after handheld or wireless tattoo machines. I don't care if it's much bigger. If people can get used to holding that big clunky thing, some of them that are wireless have I think it's volt. Basically the speed has 100 different variables that you can change it from, and you can get inside it and really mess with, how it's tightened in there. There's probably a better mechanism than it magnetizing or just sticking in something that grips it barely. If you don't want to go through all that manufacturing, I get that. I'd like to talk more about drawing with it. I have a piece that I've sketched up, so I'm going to like switch over and we're gonna see more of that. Hi, this is me editing it later and realize that it's the files that I recorded on my phone of me talking about while drawing this drawing are too big to be sent over, and I'm not trying to deal with it, so that's just what you get, is a time lapse instead of me drawing. Learning how to apply pressure is weird with it having this give, because you can't just ride the tube like that. It's not going to, as this thing pulls and vibrates, you see it doesn't go all the way. How can is my hand wide enough for a good background? It doesn't go all the way inside the pen. And so you do have to kind of float above the paper, which takes time getting used to. Learning how to add the right amount of pressure can be difficult because it's not consistent. There's a lot of give to this spring mechanism that's inside at the base here. Sometimes you feel like you're putting in enough, but there's no marks really appearing. I don't know, it's not consistent, I guess, because sometimes it'll streak in a certain way where it's not a nice perfect dot. But when there's like lone dots, and if you're off of that angle at all, or your pressure's weird, it could smear, it could smudge, it could... Now I want to say, after all of this, everything I have to say, it is still really fun to use, and I'm going to try and continue using it. First off, because I spent money on it. If I can figure out how to get that magnet out, I'll get more cartridges. I'll keep using it. I'll keep drawing with it because it is fun, and it does speed up stippling a lot. So it has that going for it. I guess that's maybe its real job. Otherworldly expectations on it. As for noise, if you're concerned about that, maybe you're around people who could get annoyed easily by it. You have that thing blasting on the ultra speed. The way it thumps against the paper is very noticeable, depending on what your drawing surface is. If you like a sketchbook, probably dampens a little bit, but if you're just like a piece of paper on like a hard desk, that would be pretty loud. Also, another conclusion that I had thought about that would probably be a good fix and maybe should be thought about. Charging's cool and all, but when it's not replaceable batteries, maybe maybe replaceable batteries last longer. I'm not entirely sure how that all works, but this is a flashlight I got for like $1 at Walmart or something, and it's very, very small, and I believe it's two AAA batteries. So it's two AAA batteries, and it's about the same size as this. So about here is where the mechanism is. I don't know how long it actually is. Let me take that out, and we'll match it up about there, maybe. So the spring that's holding it is like probably right here. And then that is the thing that's actually moving back and forth. And then you have your activator and probably battery and stuff. As for this, it's about the same length. And it's just got a button and two batteries. The two batteries probably take up the whole length of it. I'm just saying, when they're this close in size, you could probably figure that out. Two batteries, and then I guess the rest of this, I mean, does this need to be? Oh my gosh. This is days later from me filming the initial thing, and I'm just talking about it, and I casually take out the ink cartridge, and guess what comes with it? Now I'm afraid to put it back in. But yeah, that's what I have to say about the Cuttlelola Dotspen 2.0 Black Knight. Don't know what that's about. Okay. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Oh, tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation. They call me a god.